So we all saw the new episode of Invincible, when Cecil revealed the secret of putting a bomb in Mark's head. Well, technically it's a high frequency earbud, but it's pretty much a bomb. Or a really tight leash. And the question is, was that decision right? Is this right for Earth? And the answer is definitely not what you think. Now, all this happened because Mark found out Cecil was keeping Batman and the cyborg maker out of prison and hiring them, probably even paying them as well. So Mark felt like quite a strong amount of injustice was going on. Even though they saved his life, he goes to Cecil to vent about his feelings and have a debate about how wrong this is. And Cecil raises a really good point, that it's better for them to serve the government instead of rotting in a cell. He also said they're going through severe psychological reprogramming, and come on man, that's just a lie. I've never heard of that stuff ever in my life. What do they even do? Do they just pin them down and play Family Guy funny moments with Subway Surfers? I don't know. But Mark is saying that the only place for those people is jail, which does make a lot of sense, because if you did the crime, get ready to hold onto the soap, because you gotta do the time. But the thing is, these people are free to just move around, like they're not restricted at all, like there's no ankle monitor at all. But Cecil mentions that Mark did do the same and questioned if he should be punished for killing Angstrom Levy, which is just incredibly ridiculous, because the intent of Mark was to save his family and himself, and he had no other choice but to kill Angstrom. But Mark's saying he's not leaving until Megamind and that big weirdo go back to jail. And in all fairness, that sounds like a threat. Make sure to remember that he said this, because it will be very necessary later on. Also, did you know that really cool people are subscribed to this channel? Please subscribe. Then Cecil lets out this huge sigh, like he's got a 14-hour shift tomorrow and he just found out about it. So you know it's not going to get any better from here. But Mark questioned something which would change the entire episode for him.
Wait, why are we in here again? What are you hiding in here?
But Cecil just saying, stop pressing me, Mark, go home, you don't know what's about to happen. Leave me be. And you don't know what's going to happen if you keep pressing me like this. Then Cecil mentions that the room is for his protection, and Mark presses again.
Protection from what?
His body language, by the way, and voice is very threatening, and especially now that he can crush Cecil like paste just by sneezing. And if you don't see that, go back to Hell's Kitchen, they probably need you out there. Crime is up. Then Cecil shows who's protecting him. Then Mark starts approaching, a cyborg steps out, they argue for a little bit, Mark walks forward once again, a cyborg puts their hand on him, then Mark, in all fairness, riles himself up and just breaks all the robots. While he's doing this, Cecil is telling them just, we can talk this over, calm down. But now the cyborgs are dead. Then Mark says something that messes him up even more.
Is that all you got?
And every time something like this happens in a movie or TV show, they just get cooked. I mean, take the Hulk for example.
Is that all you got?
And by the way, he did make that sound like a threat, and it definitely wasn't all he had. And Mark says the only thing that will ever get him to stop is if Cecil comes clean to everybody about what he's been doing here, hiring the criminals. Cecil threatens Mark, then Mark threatens Cecil, then Invincible goes after the cyborgs, and Cecil just hits him with this high frequency stuff. Mark's out here reacting like lactose intolerant people when you play the frequency of milk. Then Cecil reveals that he implanted the earpiece in his head while he was injured. Then Mark tries to run off, and man does he run off, but then he gets put down right away. Now it's time for the real question. Is this right for Earth? Is this good for the betterment of humanity? Well, you gotta understand why Cecil did it, and his key reasoning was because Mark is strong and Omni-Man was his dad, and you know, Omni-Man just happened to be lying to everyone's face for years, then finally cooked the Earth in like 5 minutes, and the only reason he stopped is because he had like a parental issue. But then he didn't bother coming back because he had like a bug with him. Now, it's not massively specified when the chip was implanted, but it's definitely before the training and after the Omni-Man fight. And for the name Invincible, this man sure does get his butt kicked a lot, so I'm not sure when it actually happened. But Cecil's big point is massively flawed. He mentioned that Mark is just like his father and probably will turn on them. I honestly heavily doubt that. If he was to turn, wouldn't it have been when his dad told him to? You know, if he's running around with a trained professional helping him out, it would be a lot easier than doing it solo. And especially seeing that every other Mark did. And even if Mark was on the fence about invading Earth, he would not have taken the beating that he did. Because my boy was beaten to, I don't even know, he was just beaten to death. And if that's not good enough, he would have just joined Anissa when she came over and asked him to invade. This man was willing to die for this cause, by the way. Like, he was willing to die just to say that he won't invade Earth. He was incredibly hesitant to say he would invade Earth as well. Like lactose intolerant people when you offer them ice cream, because you know what that does to them. But was Cecil's other point valid? That Mark's strength puts Earth at risk? Personally, this is space racism, and not the fun kind like Halo. But if this is true about Mark being a threat because he's strong, surely the Immortal would have a bunch on him. But I just think he's targeting Mark. So was it right for Cecil to do this? No.